Hello everybody, welcome to Q&A Friday. Burning questions on public speaking answered. This is Chris Dao-anis. I'm an author, speaker, and trainer, and a public speaking coach. And in the next 25 minutes with our guest here, we'll be answering questions on public speaking. She will be reading some of the questions that you sent us.
Yep.
The one and only Vanji. Welcome to this. Welcome to my show.
Yay! Thank you so much. And yes, my role here is to ask the questions for you. So I will be giving the questions and then Chris will be answering them. I believe there are 4 questions that we will be answering in this show tonight. So I hope that everyone will be tuning in until the last minute.
Yes, that's right. And of course, feel free to send your questions and we'll do our best. I will do my best to answer them. And just in case we'll not be able to answer them today, it will be answered in next week's Q&A Friday. So I think we're ready to get going, get the ball rolling. So Vanji, what's the first question?
Okay, we have a question here from Romark. He's asking, how public is public speaking?
Oh wow, that's a fun question, and I don't know the answer. But it can be as public as it gets. You might be speaking to a small audience or to a large audience. You might be speaking to 5 people, 50 people, or 500 people. And public speaking happens in many occasions. You can be speaking in a formal or informal event. You can be speaking in a birthday, in a graduation, in a campaign or a press briefing or barangay assemblies, whatever kind of assembly, town hall meetings. It can be lectures, trainings, conferences, even weddings and fiestas, in even during funerals or any special occasion. So how public is public speaking? It can be as public as it gets. So I think that's a fun question. It's a warm-up question from our friend Romark. So I think we're ready for the next question.
All right. The next question comes from Tin. Okay, here's the question. What is the simplest strategy in order to deliver compelling speech when asked on the spot? So we are talking about impromptu speaking.
Wow. Simplest strategy for on-the-spot speaking.
Yep.
I was once listening to Craig Valentine. Craig Valentine is a world champion of public speaking, Toastmasters. And what he shared struck me so much because he was telling the story of when he was on his flight back home after the World Championship of Public Speaking. He was on the airport and he was carrying his gigantic trophy. He cannot put it on in his bag, that's why he was carrying it there while walking in the airport, and a woman noticed the gigantic trophy. And the woman reads the label of the trophy and it says World Champion of Public Speaking, and the woman goes, wow, World Champion of Public Speaking, come on, say something. Say something. And Craig Valentine has been always asked by people to say something because of his title. And that's why he said that being a world champion is like a blessing and a curse because of that. And with his situation, he learned not to get ready to speak, but to stay ready to speak. Isn't that brilliant?
Stay ready to speak.
Yeah, stay ready. And for me, I'm not a world champion, but I am a speaker. And on a smaller scale, I had a similar experience. When I go to an event and people know that I'm a speaker and trainer, they would always ask me to say something. And I'm still learning this skill of staying ready to speak. And I still have a lot of room for this. And in occasions that you are not prepared and you're called to speak, the key is to stand up, to speak up, and shut up. You don't have to take much time. Just say some sensible words. May it be some words of congratulations, words of sympathy perhaps, or words of thanks, or maybe some information, and in that occasion perhaps you have the idea already, so you can say something about that, or maybe some words of inspiration. So just stand up, share a story that makes sense, and maybe you can share a recent story and share the lesson that you learned from that experience.
Maybe you can also share something like a pattern, maybe that you usually use when you are asked to deliver a speech or a message in an impromptu event, like in a birthday or something like that. I
That's
believe
right.
we use some patterns.
Oh, good. As to patterns, you can say, I was telling about an experience, right? So that can be a story. And you can use the pattern story, message, gain. Say, tell us an experience, just what happened perhaps. And then from that experience, pick up what you gain from that experience and the lesson from that. So just story, message, gain. So you can do that as a pattern as well. If it's if you're giving an information, then maybe just go and say your point and then give a reason for that, and then give an example or illustration, then just reiterate your point. But I believe another way to approach this is, because he was asking about a simplest strategy.
Yes.
And of course, you just have to stand up there. Again, I repeat, stand up, speak up, and shut up. And be real and be sincere. But there can be ways to prepare for this situation when it arises. Number one is consider the practice of writing or journaling, writing your experience. And when you get to write an experience, there is this increased chances of retaining it in your memory.
So writing to retain it.
Yes, writing to retain it. And the good thing is that when the occasion arises, when the occasion demands for you to share something, you can just pull out from your memory that experience or story and then share it and then pick the lesson from it. The good thing is, if when you wrote it, you might have a good structure for it and a clear lesson for it. So that's one way to prepare.
And no one can question your story. It's personal story, right?
Definitely. Second is this: you can practice sharing your what happened to your day or an experience with your family or your friends. Or you can also join Toastmasters and practice in their table topic session. That's the impromptu speaking session. And it's like impromptu speaking is like a muscle that you can exercise, and you can do that. And finally, number 3 that I can say to answer this question is, when you're on your way to an event and you have that feeling that they will call you to speak, then on your way, you can prepare what you will say. If you will be called, then you're ready. If you will not, then it's okay. You can have it reserved for another day.
Wow, 3 strategies. I hope Tin is listening right now.
Yeah,
and
hopefully.
watching.
Oh, by the way, Tin is, of course, a cousin and helped me in my previous books. In my books, he edits, helps proofread, and wonderful teacher as well in La Trinidad. So thank you for giving that question.
Okay, let's move on to question number 3. Okay, 3 there. 3. From Margie Thomas. How can I overcome the tendency to say, this is what I always utter when I'm running out of words? Is there a possibility to control this expression? So Margie is talking about pause fillers, those filler words that we usually use.
That's right.
How can we eliminate or control the expressions?
Margie. By the way, Margie, I believe, is an OFW.
Wow,
Yeah? So
really?
hi from where you're watching abroad. So
Awesome.
Margie, how to overcome the tendency? Just like what I'm doing now. The reason why we say and other pause fillers, or some would say verbalized pauses, is because we are thinking of what to say next. And it's like our mind is catching up with our mouth. Or say, the idea that you're about to say is not yet up in your mind or is not yet clear. That's why we utter those sounds. And the thing is, this can happen also when the speaker forgets what to say next, or maybe the speaker is too nervous or preoccupied with something. So I believe I can give 3 prescriptions for this.
All right, 3.
3 prescriptions. Number 1 is presence. If one of the reasons is preoccupation, then to address that is to be fully present. Right? The speaker has to be fully present there. Make sure you're there, mind, body, and soul. You're there. You're there in the moment. You're there for the occasion. You're there for the audience. You're there to serve them, and you have to be present.
You're not thinking about the house.
Yes,
the
you're not
kids.
thinking of something else. You're not thinking of what to eat during lunch, because if you're thinking that, then the audience would even be thinking of something else. If you're not present, the audience will not be present as well.
Okay.
So there can be ways to do this. You can do some breathing exercises, some mindfulness exercises, which maybe we can discuss this in another video, but you can do that as well. And of course, the power of prayer is powerful. And to be more present, here comes prescription 2. It is preparation. Prepare, prepare, prepare. And that includes practice. If you're well prepared and you know your material, the less likely that you will forget some lines, the less likely that you will forget your points. So if you've been practicing also the delivery, the less likely that you will utter some ahs or ums. And preparation will help you to be more present as well. That's why it comes with that. Presence, preparation, and the third prescription is to appreciate the power of pause.
Pause. That means to stop?
Yeah, to stop for a while in some parts. The thing is, some speakers utter these sounds because they are not comfortable with silence, with pause. But the thing is, in our speaking, in our speeches, it is just right to have some pauses. You pause to prepare for a punchline or for a key message, for a key point or key line. You can also pause to let the audience absorb or ponder on what you just said.
So you can pause before or after saying the main point or a key point.
That's right. That's right. You can also pause to have that proper breathing. Yeah, you can breathe in, and as you can transition as well, maybe to the next point, or as you move on stage, you can do that pause and be okay with pause. And actually, a well-placed pause in a speech is powerful. It can help you even do that. So with that, you can minimize those pause fillers, those ums, those ahs, and of course, being humans, we can even how we want to eradicate that. Maybe there will still be 1, 2, 3, and that's okay, because we're human and we want to be present. We don't want to be perfect, just like what Darren LaCroix said. Don't be perfect, just be present. So
it might also sound like it's scripted if it's perfect, right?
That's right. That's right. So even if you rewind perhaps this video, you'll listen to some of those pause fillers that I uttered. One or two or three, even more. So there you go. And all this will come with proper practice, with experience and evaluated experience, and coaching will also help you do that. So thanks for the question, Margie.
Right. Coaching, experience, and practice at the same time. Thank you for that. And I also believe that the second tip that you gave, preparation, was also asked by a few of those. I think it was asked several times in your last question about.
Oh yeah, we did the survey, right?
Yeah, the survey.
We'll be addressing also some of those concerns in a different video.
A longer one for that. Okay, let's move on to the last question for this. Okay, from Vern Jules. He asked, when I'm presenting a project that I only had a small part in or a topic I didn't come up with, it feels like I don't own it. So I lose confidence in talking about it. He's asking, how can I own a presentation or at least be confident in presenting a presentation or that presentation?
All right, brilliant. The answer to the question is in the question. Because he talked about he doesn't feel like he owns it. So he lacked confidence. And that's true, because if you don't have this sense of ownership, you don't have the confidence as much as when you have that you own the material.
You prepared it.
You prepared it
yourself.
And to approach the situation is to own it, to have that sense of ownership. And you can approach this in two stages. One is before the project, before the preparation, or while the project is ongoing, while the preparation is ongoing. Then if you know, based on experience, based on the circumstances, that you will be the one who will present, most likely, even if you're not sure, but most likely you will be the one, or you might be called. Then with that in mind, then take part in the project, involve yourself in the project, so that you have this participation, you have this sense of ownership. And when you have to present that later on, then you'll be more confident. Why? You have this sense of ownership. But the second stage is after completion of the project, meaning it's already done, it's already prepared, and then they come to you and ask you to just present it. So I remember a time when that happened to me. It was when we were about to graduate in high school, and 3 days, or I think 3 days before the graduation, our teacher approached me and said, "Chris, please deliver the opening remarks. Now here's the speech." And I was like, even if I wasn't a speaker that time, I would rather prepare something and deliver it. Because again, that's ownership. But the thing is, when you're in that situation, you ask the question, can you customize it or not? Can you customize the content and structure or not? At that time, I wasn't given that chance to customize it, to change it. So what I did was jump into my rehearsal mood. So go to the rehearsal, just practice it. And the keywords are rehearsal and repetition.
Rehearsal and repetition.
So keep on practicing it. With that, you get to internalize it, and when you go and present it, you'll be confident. You somehow, there's this sense of ownership. Why? You put in your own style in it, and that happens when you prepare it. You internalize it, and that's what I did with that particular opening remarks when I graduated in high school.
Probably to put emotions in it, like what I think some of the leaders in the country would do, because they have their own speech makers, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I would just like to maybe not put emotions in it, but to bring out the emotion in it.
Bring out the emotion.
It's having that connection in it, so you can bring it out. Bring out the emotion, the meat of the message.
Okay.
Right.
So that also means that you have to agree with the message, and you also have to believe in what you're saying. Right.
That's right. So if you don't agree with it, then don't deliver it. If you don't agree with it, don't deliver it. Then that's another scenario. But the other scenario is when you ask the question, can you customize it? Can you change it? So like you will have this participation and ownership in it. If the answer is yes, then do something about it. For example, I was given this chance to deliver a talk in a community we're serving. And the talk, the main message of the talk was downloaded from the main speaker, from the founder. But the good thing was that when it gets down into the different locations, the speaker or the preacher can customize it. How? By, of course, maintaining the main message, but then see how you can illustrate the message in your own way. See how you can use your own stories to reinforce the message. And that's what I did. I understood it, made sure I get a good grasp of the message, and then looked at my life, looked at my experience, and how can I illustrate this using the things that I'm familiar with, using my own stories, using my own experiences. And when I did that, I had this sense of ownership in the material. Why? I had this participation. My heart is with it. My life is with it. Why? I put in my experience there. And even if it's not, the message wasn't mine, the illustrations were mine, and the message was somehow alive in my life. And when I get to deliver it, of course, it comes with preparation and practice. I had that confidence that I needed. And that's what you can do if you're faced in that situation. And again, just to give a caution, a warning, this is not, of course, about taking the material of others and just delivering it as if it's your own. No, that's a different thing. Stealing is, of course, a different thing. And taking the credit of something that's not yours is, of course, another thing. That's what we're not talking about. That's not what we are talking about. And the final thing that I would like to say in this question, again, this was the fourth question that we had this Friday, is the sense of some people, when they get to deliver that piece, and because of a certain structure or flow in the organization, it's their job, even if they were not the one who prepared it.
Especially at this time, we usually would receive reports about the COVID-19, the situation of our local government, the national government.
And you have to relay it, right? So it's not yours, but you have to relay it. It's part of your job. And the thing is, some people would be full of pride and say, I won't deliver this because it's not mine, right? And I think that's not a good application of that. So if that is coming from pride, then the way to approach it is to have this sense of humility, is being humble enough to accept that, hey, okay, if this is my role, then I deliver it. If this is my part in the bigger scheme of things, then I'll do it. And having that is, you'll be able to just go do it and give the best that you can, and somehow put your heart into it. And if that's your job, put your heart into it, and you'll have that confidence that you need, because somehow you still have that sense of ownership in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's very true, because sometimes we want to present things that are only from our minds, and sometimes we don't trust also the people who gave the information and the like. And I believe that it's also our responsibility to double check it, or to clarify, or to ask some questions from the source, so that whenever we are asked after we have presented, then we can confidently answer the questions.
Right. At least have that level of understanding about what you're presenting. Have that, and only you can tell that threshold. Have that level of understanding in which you can deliver it with confidence and competence. And again, consider all those the insights, the concepts that we talked about earlier. So I guess that's all the questions we have.
Yes, we answered 4, and I believe that those people, VJ, Romark,
Margie,
yes,
and
Tin were able to catch the message. And I'd also like to say hi and acknowledge those who reacted to our post: Cheryl, John, Angelica, Jessica, Heidi, Mika, J. Paul,
hello,
Brother J. Paul, Jairus, Gildo, Crisel, Drayan, Floridel, Chester, Clavian, and John Bricks.
That's great. And those who just join us in the next video.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So again, this was made of 2 parts to because of some challenge and I think in the internet. So we apologize for that. But again, thank you so much for joining us. If you weren't able to catch the first part of this, it is available on our timeline, and also this one will be made available on our timeline. And before we say bye-bye, we'd like to invite you to stay connected with us. I would like to invite you to like my page at facebook.com/Chris Dao-anis, and also do join the Speaker Circle FB group. You can find it at facebook.com/groups/Speaker Circle PH. We'll put the links on the comment section and also in the caption of these videos, so it will be easier for you. And also, for more learning about public speaking, I would like to invite you to grab a copy of this book, Speak: How to Craft and Deliver Speech and Presentation with Competence and Confidence. And of course, we're still on enhanced quarantine right now, so you cannot go to the bookstore to buy it. But you can get the audio version, the ebook and audiobook version of this. We'll put the link as well on the comment section, and we'll be glad to make this available for you, and hope it will help you in becoming a better speaker, becoming a competent and confident speaker. So again, thank you so much for joining me today, joining us. And yes,
I'd just like to add that tomorrow there will be a Zoom webinar, right?
Yes.
For mental health.
And it will be on live stream as well on the page of Get Going Baguio. The Keep Going Baguio. Life in Lockdown, Safeguarding Mental Health During the ECQ. We'll be joined by
Shinx Humberbreno. She is a psychologist, and she'll be talking about the psychological effects of the ECQ, including cabin fever and also Psych Start, about the coping techniques for today's generations. And Chris will be talking about mental health resilience and inspiration during tough times. So I hope that you will join. This event is in partnership with the Rotaract, and at the same time with the SK, or Sangguniang Kabataan of the city of Baguio.
That's right. So it will be at 4 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be sharing the link on my page and my timeline as well. So make sure you get to like the page, so it will be made available to the live streaming as well. And I think that's it. Again, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today, and continue to keep yourself safe, healthy, and continue to grow the skills that you need to do, including public speaking. Thank you so much for joining me today, joining us.
Yay!
Thank you as well for joining me today. Yes. And God bless you. We'll see you next week for the Q&A Friday. So do send your questions. And of course, I will still be seeing you tomorrow.